So we do a little something called Tecmo Bowl high fives or nervous farts. Oh boy.
Covino and Rich take a look at your football team. Is your squad kicking some butt, or is their play causing a pain in your gut? Nervous farts and Tecmo Bowl high fives.
Ready, down, put. I applaud the production guy for actually reading that.
Oh, yeah.
The
that's
Fox
Bob.
Sports-
Shouts out to the voice of Bob.
Bob's probably like, I'm the Fox Sports guy. I have to read nervous farts.
Thank you.
Thank
so
you,
here's
Bob.
how we're going to do it now, week 7. Let's start with 3 teams that have the nervous farts because these games mean a lot.
Yeah, when we say nervous farts, we mean teams that, it's a little uneasy. Like, you're going into this weekend like, we need a win. Things are a little pressure-filled.
You don't think people understand what that means?
I don't know. Some people are weirdos.
Really? Hey, this is some nervous energy because they got to win.
All right, let's start with Danny G's Raiders. I'm putting them as one of my 3 teams that have the nervous stomach because you're 3-3. Listen, Vegas way underestimated you. We love the Raiders. Remember in the beginning of the season, Danny G was like under 4 or 5 wins in places?
There were places saying the Raiders would get 3 wins all season.
They're 3-3, and I'm not saying they're in the driver's seat, but the Raiders are on that wild card cusp, and the weakest part of their schedule is upon us, right? They play the Bears, they play the Giants in a few weeks, they play the Jets. So right now, the Raiders, they're playing the Bears with no Justin Fields. There's got to be a feeling, even though Jimmy G's out, there's got to be a feeling that the Raiders need to find a way to just beat the Chicago Bears. If
they don't get on a roll here in this part of the schedule, they're never going to be on a roll this season.
That's why they're a little sweaty right now. That's why they have the nervous farts. Another team that has the nervous farts or should have the nervous farts.
Stop saying farts!
The Browns. Coming off a big win. They have to win against the Colts. Division game. This will get them right on track where they need to be. So, again, just added pressure for the Browns this weekend. Well, I think they're probably a little nervous about it.
When you look at where the Browns are in the AFC North, the top of that division's pretty crowded, right? You got the Ravens at 4-2, the Steelers at 3-2, the Browns at 3-2, and in last place is arguably the team that you would say is the best of them all. The Bengals, who finally turned it on, as usual, their slow start. They're 3-3.
Yeah, so but after that nice win, Rich, there is a little more pressure on them to prove, now we got to capitalize on that.
What I'm saying is you got to keep pace with a division that is not going to slow down because you got, like I said, the Ravens, the Steelers, the Browns, and Cincinnati, all teams that you could argue will finish 500 or better. There's no garbage team in that division. So the Browns can't have a letdown because a lot of times you have a big win and what happens the next week? Like a letdown loss, and the Browns can't afford that. So I think the Browns got a little nervous energy, but they need a win. The Raiders need a win. And the last team, I'm calling them out, my 49ers. I know last week, drizzly conditions, Cleveland, road game, trap game, missed field goal when they could have won the game.
Drizzly.
But they're playing in Minnesota. They're another road game. The Vikings, there's Vikings fans, including our boss man, who's like, I don't even want them to win. There's Viking fans like, we just need to revamp. We don't even want to win right now. So the Niners on Monday night,
they need to reestablish that they're the elite team. That what happened last week was just BS, was a fluke.
It's a hiccup,
It was a hiccup. So, again, that adds more pressure on them, creating that nervous sort of vibe, the nervous stomach.
And we talked about the confusion probably Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch and the team feels of, listen, we're playing a team that's really, on paper, not great this year, the Vikings. What do we do with CMC and Debo and Trent Williams? Do we start all our banged-up stars against a bottom-tier team? So there is a little pressure, I'm guessing, within the Niners to be like, listen, let's just escape Minnesota with a win. Let's not bang. Let's not get anyone banged up, and let's get back on track and show that we are a top-level team.
Now that leads us to the 3 teams that are going to be given Tecmo Bowl high fives, a la Bo Jackson and Marcus Allen. You remember playing Tecmo Bowl?
Remember Lawrence Taylor? If you got around the corner, if you got around the edge in Tecmo Bowl, Lawrence Taylor could block every field goal or extra point.
Now, what does that mean necessarily? Giving Tecmo Bowl high fives?
You're in the driver's seat.
You're in the driver's seat. This should be an easy win. A good win.
Or even if you lose,
nothing to be really worried about here.
It's not tragic.
Right,
Let's start with Dan Byers' team, the Seattle Seahawks. They're playing at home versus the Cardinals. This is one of those, you should win the game. You go to 4-2. You establish yourself as, wow, the Seahawks are 4-2. They look like a wild card team. Maybe they could fight the Niners if the Niners get cold, right, for the division. They play the Niners on Thanksgiving Day. Let's see where both of those teams are by then. But this is a game that Dan Byers' Seahawks need to win. So I think
in the driver's seat.
Yeah, they're favored by more than a touchdown. I like the Seahawks to beat up on the Cards.
Speaking of driver's seat, Tecmo Bowl high fives will be given by the Buffalo Bills against Bill. It's the Bills versus Bill. The Buffalo Bills against Bill Belichick. I don't know. I think that's an easy win. Easy 5-2. Keep on pace.
Well, you don't want to fall further behind the Dolphins, who only have one loss. So this is a game where the Buffalo Bills, you don't want to look past it.
I'm not saying look past it, but I don't think they have anything to worry about here. Do you guys? I don't think so.
Now, dare I say, no one wants to lose. But is it safe to say Dolphins, Eagles, both of those teams, like whoever loses, as long as the loser isn't the recipient of bad injuries or like a blowout win,
embarrassed,
or embarrassed, where
like
it's
this is just a good battle, they both come out on top.
Yeah, the losing team's still going to be 5-2 and in a very good position. But
Agreed.
The Eagles and the Dolphins do both have very tough schedules moving forward. But I think both of those teams, if you lose that game, there's no shame in that game. As we said earlier, we forget sometimes
is the Dolphins' schedule as tough as the Eagles' schedule moving forward?
I don't think anyone's schedule is as tough as the Eagles.
Well,
as we said,
then I would say there's a slight more of a must-win for an Eagles in that situation.
Because the Eagles also, they would love to host that. I'm looking way ahead, but the Eagles would love to host that NFC Championship game if it was against the Niners, Lions, Cowboys. The Eagles at home, I feel like that's major advantage, Philadelphia. But they play, get this, after the Dolphins, at the Commanders. They play the Cowboys. Then they play in a row the Chiefs, Bills, and Niners. They have a hell schedule coming up. So maybe there is a little nervous energy in Philadelphia.
But the point is, regardless of who wins or loses, if they both play a decent game and nobody gets hurt, high fives for everybody. You're still in a good position.
I think that's the game we're all going to be watching. That's also a great Sunday night game, the best Sunday night game.
Rich, I was surprised you put your Niners on that nervous list instead of the Chargers. They're 2-3, and they're at the Chiefs.
I'm glad you added it, Danny, because I have the Chargers in a teaser bet I'm doing. I'll throw it out there now. I like the Chargers getting 11.5 in a teaser. They're 5.5-point underdogs. I think the Chargers could step it up. I mean, they've had some rough breaks, right? The Chiefs have not been blowing anyone out. Would you be shocked if this is a game where the Chargers get it together? And I know the game's in Kansas City. That's the one rub.
That's the thing, yeah.
It's
but
in
it
Arrowhead.
Feels like the Chiefs need this more at this point in the season.
Yeah, but
you can't go to 2-4 and lose a division game.
No, this is a game the Chargers, they got to try to sneak this one in against the Chiefs. But there's a lot of great games this week. I'm pumped. Hopefully you guys are pumped as well. So there you have it, some high fives and some nervous stomachs going around the National Football League.